Wagwan, everybody. I am your Jamaican queen, Miss Y. You are tuned into How I See It TV, and this is another installment of Why Caught Alive. I am feeling a little under the weather right now. However, I hope that you are having a fabulous New Year's Eve. Before we get into this video, please hit that like button, subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet, and share the link to this and some of my other videos if you feel like my content needs some crowd, okay? So I just caught part of Love and Marriage Huntsville's cast member Keke Jabbar's IG Live, where she discussed her relationship with her father's side of the family. She also talked about the therapy session scene during the Houston trip, and she also talks about where her relationship with Melody Cherie stands after some unfortunate misinformation was spread down to these YouTube streets. Check it out.
That's who they know. That's who they talk to. I don't really talk to them, to tell you the truth. So, your main cast, you did deserve to be there. Exactly. And you know, a lot of people have a misconception like you're a friend of. No, I was a friend of last season. This season, I was main cast. So yeah, I most definitely deserve to be there. And that's another reason why that whole vote and everything threw me off. I'm not the first person that has had conflict on this show with other people where they had to film together in the same space. So what difference would me being there make as far in comparison to the plenty of previous times where there was conflict, you know, and they all had to share the same space? There's no difference. It's not me trying to be around Tisha. It's not just her space. It was my space too. And that was my thing. I'm not going to allow, I'm not supposed to show up just because she there. Nah, that ain't even the way I roll. You'll never see me not do something or not go somewhere just because somebody else there. They're okay before I do. I love that Stormy has your back. You know what? I appreciated that 100%. And she was literally the only one at that counseling session to be like, y'all, what y'all doing is not right. And then when Stormy says that, then they say to Stormy, well, why you don't never take up for Tisha like you taking up for her? When have we ever seen her be attacked by a whole group of people and a counselor, and she just defended herself on her own? That scenario has not happened. So why would she even come up in this scenario? Because Stormy is defending me. I guarantee you, if Stormy or anybody else was defending, you know, the other girl, then they wouldn't say, well, why don't you ever defend Keke like that? So to me, that was stupid too. Do you guys understand that if we don't patronize Melody's products, she wouldn't make money? Why did she telling you to tap into the 5-year-old? Why did she tell you to tap into the 5-year-old little girl? I kind of explained that earlier because she had asked me a question about, you know, when a time when I was a little girl that I ever felt dismissed or unheard or restricted, or it was something like that. And I thought really long and hard. And I just kind of gave her an answer. And then she just kept coming back with the 5-year-old girl, 5-year-old little girl. I barely remember anything from when I was 5 years old, honestly. Let alone the 5-year-old little girl. That was so crass of that therapist. I agree. I kept saying that you were doing your job. Everyone is like, why did she come? Duh, production wanted her to. Can you say it a little bit louder? Like, especially for folks who claim that they be thinking. Like, I'm like, that would be self-explanatory to me. But, hey, maybe not. Melody has been on the chopping block too. I mean, she has, as far as having everyone against her. And I I'll never forget some of those moments, rooting so hard for her just because of how everyone was coming against her, even against my own family, because I understood what type of position she was in, because I had been in that type of position before with my own family. So because of that, I was rooting so hard for her. So that's one of the things that kind of hurt me the most, to have a turnaround moment and feel like she wasn't in my corner. That really did hurt me. It really did. And I didn't know at that moment, in that moment, I didn't know if it was because she was making up with them, that she felt like she had to back off of defending me. I didn't know what it was at that moment. I was confused. But most definitely hurt by it. Why didn't you tell her there and then? It just wasn't the time. I couldn't. I was too upset. I was too in my feelings, and I wanted to wait until I could calm down and see things rationally. Because a lot of times, especially, I know that about myself, when I'm in my feelings, a lot of times I don't see things rationally. And so I wanted to wait until I had a clearer head to move forward with that conversation. Unfortunately, that moment was taken from me. And it was taken from me, by the person who took this situation and blew it up and made it something that it really was not at all. Like, it was not anything like what this person tried to make it. Even if you listen to the phone conversation is after I had spoken to Melody, and this is after I find out what's going on, because I didn't even know what was going on. I had talked to my mom. I was frustrated, so that night I went straight to sleep. I wake up the next morning, and I'm trying to get out of there. I'm getting ready to leave, and Mel was calling. She did call a few times because I was in the shower. I was trying to get ready to go, so I didn't pick up right away. But when she kept calling, it was just like, okay, something got to be wrong. So I answered, and I told her, I was like, I'm in the shower, I'll call you right back. And she was like, make sure you call me right back. And I was like, okay. So when I got out of the shower, I did call back, and she was like, what's this, going on with this boy? He said this and this and blah. And I'm like, huh? I hadn't talked to him. I didn't know what was going on. So after I talked to her, I called my mom, and my mom was like, Keisha, I'm so sorry. I did talk to Anthony, and I was just like, oh my God, Mama. At that point, I was just like, damage control. Because then I had to go and watch what he said, and that's when y'all hear the conversation take place, in that moment, I'm really frustrated. And so I don't say a whole lot because I'm thinking and trying to figure out, I'm pissed, number one, because this was nobody's place to go and say anything about anything. That's a moment that was taken from me. I was going to have that conversation with my friend when I got ready. The only thing I did was vent it to my mom about what happened. And again, unfortunately, my mom talked to somebody she felt like she could trust. Because just like he did Melody, he would always hit us up and say, hey, if Keke need this, or if she need that, I got this, or I got that. And that's what it was. He always act like he was looking out. He always hit me up and said, hey, how you doing? Everything okay? I wouldn't go so far as to say that we were like friends like that. And then he put out about the $100. Now, I did ask him for $100. But this is the thing. When we did that last interview we did, I told Anthony, I said, Anthony, a lot of people want this interview. But since you my boy, I'm going to look out, I'm going to give you the interview. I'm charging $500, but I'll charge you $350. Cool. He never said nothing else about the money after the interview. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe he forgot. And so I even asked my husband, I'm like, well, I don't want to offend them. Should I, and I got to get out of that. Should I just ask him for the money? Or he was like, yeah, just be honest with him, ask him for the money. I should have taken his advice. I didn't do that. I felt like, well, maybe if I ask him like to borrow $100, then he'll be like, well, you know what? Let me just go on and give you the money I owe you. Or this will be toward the money that I owe you. And I would have been like, okay, cool. That didn't happen. And it's like, you owe me. You know we had that conversation. Like, come on, stop. Don't do that. Like, don't do that. For what? Just be honest. You know we had that conversation. But it's cool. I'll take the minus 250. It's cool. That was that. So that's how all of that happened. And it's like that whole scenario was wrong. That was a hot seat exercise they do in treatment for substance abuse. It was brutal. I have 24 years of sobriety, and it should have never happened. I cried. Oh, well, thank you for your empathy. I really appreciate that. I did too. I was very upset. I held it throughout that whole thing. But I was very upset by that whole session. How did you expect Melody to empathize with you when she was dealing with RP, which, in my opinion, the entire cast saw, and there was no one there giving Melody any empathy? Well, let me say this. First, you don't really know what happened because you didn't see everything. Y'all don't see everything, okay? That's one. You don't know what kind of empathy she was giving behind the scenes. Just because they didn't show it does not mean it didn't happen. That's one. I'm sure that most women empathize with her when it came to that, and myself included, as I've said many, many times. And that was not something that was that we were dealing with in that moment. In that moment, we were dealing with what you see us dealing with. So just because somebody else is dealing with something, if I'm dealing with something as well, that doesn't mean that I'm going to stop what I'm dealing with to talk about. So what am I supposed to say in that moment? Oh, well, we ain't going to talk about this. Let's talk about the RP. That doesn't even make sense. That doesn't make sense. So it's okay. They all think Mel is Superwoman. She's supposed to deal with her enemy and everyone else's. No, I never asked anybody to deal with my enemies too. But I can. Okay, if that's the case, I'm dealing with my own shit. How you expect me to sympathize with RP? I have my own shit I'm dealing with. So how do you expect me or think that I can be Superwoman? That's what friends do in a time of need. Friends help friends deal with whatever situation. I'm talking about in the moment. In the moment. If I have a car accident and then the next day I see somebody else on the side of the road having a car accident, I'm supposed to say, well, I just had a car accident yesterday, so I can't help you deal with yours. That don't make sense. In the moment, that's what we were dealing with. We were not dealing with that in the moment. Folks talking about Mel being a friend, but you didn't defend your friend at the reunion. You called Mel a liar, saying Marceau wouldn't joke about your addiction. No, I never called her a liar. One, let me get this straight. One, I never said I didn't believe Mel. I believed her the whole entire time. What I said was this. Now, I don't even know if they got all of it. What I said was this. You know what? I would like to believe that he wouldn't joke about something like that. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. I knew what I believed. I believed it the whole time. I never said I didn't. But in that moment, I said, you know what? Because we were trying to make amends. I said, you know what? I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. Because I would like to believe that you wouldn't do that. I would like to believe that. Although I knew that he had joked about it. I knew that. But since we were making amends, I tried to put a little bit of ease and give a little bit of grace for something that I knew that he did that I could have came out full guns blazing. But I chose not to because we were moving forward. So I never called anybody a liar. Let's get that straight as well. Mia always speaks very highly of you. She always praises you. I agree. Likewise.
Alright, y'all, thank you for watching. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Leave a comment below so I know how you see things too. And as I always say, walk good. Bye.